Genesis chapter 34. Dinah, the daughter of Jacob and Leah, went to visit some of the women who lived nearby. She was seen by Hamor's son Shechem, the leader of the Hivites, and he grabbed her and raped her. But Shechem was attracted to Dinah, so he told her how much he loved her. Shechem even asked his father to arrange for him to marry her. Meanwhile, Jacob heard what had happened. But his sons were out in the fields with the cattle, so he did not do anything at the time. Hamor arrived at Jacob's home just as Jacob's sons were coming in from work. When they learned that their sister had been raped, they became furiously angry, because nothing is more disgraceful than rape, and it must not be tolerated. Hamor said to Jacob and his sons, "My son Shechem really loves Dinah. Please let him marry her. Why don't you start letting your families marry into our families and ours marry into yours? You can share this land with us. Move freely about until you find the property you want, then buy it and settle down here." Shechem added, "Do this favor for me, and I'll give whatever you want. Ask anything, no matter how expensive. I'll do anything, just let me marry Dinah." Jacob's sons wanted to get even with Shechem and his father because of what had happened to their sister. So they tricked them by saying, "You're not circumcised. It would be a disgrace for us to let you marry Dinah now. But we will let you marry her, if you and the other men in your tribe agree to be circumcised. Then your families can marry into ours, and ours can marry into yours, and we can live together like one nation. But if you don't agree to be circumcised, we'll take Dinah and leave this place." Hamor and Shechem liked what was said. Shechem was the most respected person in his family, and he was so in love with Dinah that he hurried off to get everything done. The two men met with the other leaders of their city and told them, "These people really are friendly. Why not let them move freely about until they find the property they want? There's enough land here for them and for us. Then our families can marry into theirs, and theirs can marry into ours. We have to do only one thing before they will agree to stay here and become one nation with us. Our men will have to be circumcised just like theirs. Just think. We'll get their property, as well as their flocks and herds. All we have to do is to agree, and they will live here with us." Every grown man followed this advice and got circumcised. 3 days later the men who had been circumcised were still weak from pain. So Simeon and Levi, two of Dinah's brothers, attacked with their swords and killed every man in the town, including Hamor and Shechem. Then they took Dinah and left. Jacob's other sons came and took everything they wanted. All this was done because of the horrible thing that had happened to their sister. They took sheep, goats, donkeys, and everything else that was in the town or the countryside. After taking everything of value from the houses, they dragged away the wives and children of their victims. Jacob said to Simeon and Levi, "Look what you've done. Now I'm in real trouble with the Canaanites and Perizzites who live around here. There aren't many of us, and if they attack, they'll kill everyone in my household." They answered, "Was it right to let our own sister be treated that way?" Genesis chapter 35 verses 1 to 27. God told Jacob, "Return to Bethel, where I appeared to you when you were running from your brother Esau. Make your home there and build an altar for me." Jacob said to his family and to everyone else who was traveling with him, "Get rid of your foreign gods. Then make yourselves acceptable to worship God and put on clean clothes. Afterwards, we'll go to Bethel. I will build an altar there for God, who answered my prayers when I was in trouble and who has always been at my side." So everyone gave Jacob their idols and their earrings, and he buried them under the oak tree near Shechem. While Jacob and his family were traveling through Canaan, God terrified the people in the towns so much that no one dared bother them. Finally, they reached Bethel, also known as Luz. Jacob built an altar there and called it God of Bethel, because that was the place where God had appeared to him when he was running from Esau. While they were there, Rebekah's personal servant Deborah died. They buried her under an oak tree and called it Weeping Oak. After Jacob came back to the land of Canaan, God appeared to him again. This time he gave Jacob a new name and blessed him by saying, "I am God all-powerful, and from now on your name will be Israel instead of Jacob. You will have many children. Your descendants will become nations, and some of the men in your family will even be kings. I will give you the land that I promised Abraham and Isaac, and it will belong to your family forever." After God had gone, Jacob set up a large rock, so that he would remember what had happened there. Then he poured wine and olive oil on the rock to show that it was dedicated to God, and he named the place Bethel. Jacob and his family had left Bethel and were still a long way from Ephrath, when the time came for Rachel's baby to be born. She was having a rough time, but the woman who was helping her said, "Don't worry. It's a boy." Rachel was at the point of death, and right before dying, she said, "I'll name him Benoni." But Jacob called him Benjamin. Rachel was buried beside the road to Ephrath, which is also called Bethlehem. Jacob set up a tombstone over her grave, and it is still there. Jacob, also known as Israel, traveled to the south of Eder Tower, where he set up camp. During their time there, Jacob's oldest son Reuben slept with Bilhah, who was one of Jacob's other wives. And Jacob found out about it. Jacob had 12 sons while living in northern Syria. His firstborn Reuben was the son of Leah, who later gave birth to Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, and Zebulun. Leah's servant Zilpah had 2 sons, Gad and Asher. Jacob and his wife Rachel had Joseph and Benjamin. Rachel's servant woman Bilhah had 2 more sons, Dan and Naphtali. Jacob went to his father Isaac at Hebron, also called Mamre or Kiriath Arba, where Isaac's father Abraham had lived as a foreigner. Genesis chapter 36. Esau, also known as Edom, had many descendants. He married 3 Canaanite women. The first was Adah, the daughter of Elon the Hittite. The second was Oholibamah, the daughter of Anna and the granddaughter of Zibeon the Hivite. The third was Basemath, who was Ishmael's daughter and Nebaioth's sister. Esau and his 3 wives had 5 sons while in Canaan. Adah's son was Eliphaz, Basemath's son was Ruel, Oholibamah's 3 sons were Jush, Jalam, and Korah. Esau took his children and wives, his relatives and servants, his animals and possessions he had acquired while in Canaan, and moved far from Jacob. He did this because the land was too crowded and could not support him and his brother with their flocks and herds. That's why Esau made his home in the hill country of Seir. Esau lived in the hill country of Seir and was the ancestor of the Edomites. Esau had 3 wives, Adah, Basemath, and Oholibamah. Here is a list of his descendants. Esau and Adah had a son named Eliphaz, whose sons were Taman, Omar, Zepho, Gatam, and Kenas. Timnah was the other wife of Esau's son Eliphaz, and she had a son named Amalek. Esau and Basemath had a son named Ruel, whose sons were Nahath, Zerah, Shammah, and Mizah. Esau and Oholibamah had 3 sons, Jush, Jalam, and Korah. Esau and Adah's oldest son was Eliphaz, and the clans that descended from him were Taman, Omar, Zepho, Kenas, Korah, Gatam, and Amalek. These and Esau's other descendants lived in the land of Edom. The clans that descended from Esau and Basemath's son Ruel were Nahath, Zerah, Shammah, and Mizah. The clans that descended from Esau and Oholibamah the daughter of Anna were Jush, Jalam, and Korah. All of these clans descended from Esau, who was known as Edom. Seir was from the Horite tribe that had lived in Edom before the time of Esau. The clans that had descended from him were Lotan, Shobal, Zibeon, Anna, Dishon, Ezer, and Dishan. Lotan's sons were Hori and Heman, his sister was Timnah. Shobal's sons were Alvan, Manahath, Ebal, Shepho, and Onam. Zibeon's sons were Aya and Anna, the same Anna who found an oasis in the desert while taking the donkeys of his father out to pasture. Anna's children were Dishon and Oholibamah. Dishon's sons were Hemdan, Eshban, Ithran, and Cheran. Ezer's sons were Bilhan, Zavan, and Akan. Dishan's sons were Uzi and Aaron. The clans of the Horites were Lotan, Shobal, Zibeon, Anna, Dishon, Ezer, and Dishon, and they lived in the land of Seir. Before there were kings in Israel, the following kings ruled Edom one after another: Bela son of Beer from Dinhabah, Jobab son of Zerah from Bozrah, Husham from the land of Taman, Hadad son of Bedad from Avith. Bedad had defeated the Midianites in Moab, Samlah from Misreka, Shaul from the city of Rehoboth on the Euphrates River, Balhanan son of Achbor, Hadar from the city of Pau. His wife Mehetabel was the daughter of Matred and the granddaughter of Mezahab. The clans that descended from Esau took their names from their families and the places where they lived. They are Timnah, Alva, Jetheth, Oholibamah, Elah, Pinion, Kenaz, Taman, Mibzar, Magdiel, and Iram. These clans descended from Esau, who was known as Edom, the father of the Edomites. They took their names from the places where they settled. 1 Chronicles chapter 1 verses 35 to 54. Esau was the father of Eliphaz, Ruel, Jush, Jalem, and Korah. Eliphaz was the father of Taman, Omar, Zephi, Gatam, Kenaz, Timnah, and Amalek. Ruel was the father of Nahath, Zerah, Shammah, and Mizah. Seir was the father of Lotan, Shobal, Zibeon, Anna, Dishon, Ezer, and Dishon. Lotan was the father of Hori and Homam. Lotan's sister was Timnah. Shobal was the father of Alvan, Manahath, Ebal, Shephi, and Onam. Zibeon was the father of Aiah and Anna. Anna was the father of Dishon and the grandfather of Hemdan, Eshban, Ithran, and Cheran. Ezer was the father of Bilhan, Zavan, and Jachan. Dishon was the father of Uzi and Aaron. Before kings ruled in Israel, Bela son of Beer ruled the country of Edom from its capital of Dinhabah. After Bela's death, Jobab son of Zerah from Bozrah became king. After Jobab's death, Husham from the land of Taman became king. After Husham's death, Hadad son of Bedad became king and ruled from Avith. Earlier, Bedad had defeated the Midianites in the territory of Moab. After Hadad's death, Samlah from Misreka became king. After Samlah's death, Shaul from the town of Rehoboth on the Euphrates River became king, and after Shaul's death, Baal-Hanan son of Achbor became king. After Baal-Hanan's death, Hadad ruled from Pai. His wife was Mehetabel, the daughter of Matred and granddaughter of Mezahab. The Edomite clans were Timnah, Alva, Jetheth, Oholibamah, Elah, Pinion, Kenaz, Taman, Mibzar, Magdiel, and Iram. 1 Chronicles chapter 2 verses 1 to 2. Jacob was the father of 12 sons: Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, Zebulun, Dan, Joseph, Benjamin, Naphtali, Gad, and Asher.